Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Chin-Quee Chats, the bite-sized podcast where we talk movies, sports, and everything in between. I'm your host, Matthew Chin-Quee, and this week I am joined by guest, Mr. Pedro Afonso. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
No problem. It's Afonso. You're right.
How are you, man?
I'm fine. I'm glad to be here to talk about a movie that I love.
Yeah, so we actually met in, I'm having a second consecutive guest from the Movie Talk My Movie Fans Collider Council Facebook group. So that's where we met. Do you want to just kind of briefly go over how you found it and kind of what your experience has been so far in the group?
Yeah, sure. I found it back in December of 2016. I was just like going around to see Facebook groups about movies. I was not in one. And I came across Movie Talk, and I usually watch Movie Talk every day. I was like, oh, okay, this may be like the fan base or something I joined. And yeah, I really like the group. I've met a couple of people here and there, and yeah, I'm pretty much enjoying it. Really friendly. There's a few people here and there, but mostly it's friendly. And it's always nice to have another person talk about movies.
Yeah, it's, you're right. It is kind of like, everybody's really friendly there. It's like its own little family. I mean, there is our own podcast dedicated solely to that, so I don't want to spend too much time on the movie group, but that group has really helped nurture, my love for movies and really given me an outlet and have people who are just as passionate, if not more passionate about movies than I am.
And expand like my viewership. Like, for example, I've watched a lot of movies that I never considered watching.
Yeah.
But since I joined the group, a lot of people told me, hey, you should watch this. You might like it. And I've watched it and I love it. Like, I never watched 500 Days of Summer before I entered the group.
Oh, I love that movie.
And a lot of people are like, dude, you gotta watch it. If you love The Amazing Spiderman, you probably will love it. And I saw it, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time now.
And that is a great segue, actually, because Mark Webb did do 500 Days of Summer, and in honor of Spider-Man Homecoming coming out next week, because this will be released 1 week before, I almost said Amazing Spider-Man again. Spider-Man Homecoming comes out, I wanted to have Pedro on to talk about, The Amazing Spider-Man, because that is both of our favorite Spider-Man films, and we are the biggest lovers of this film in a world that seems to be dominated by people who love the Raimi Spider-Man. So we're gonna get right into the cinema chat and talk about Amazing Spider-Man. Now, Pedro, what are some of the things that you really love about the film compared to some of the others?
So the thing that stands out the most for me about The Amazing Spider-Man has got to be like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone chemistry and their roles as Peter and Gwen Stacy. I think, in my opinion, it's the best romance ever put to screen, within the genre, of course. I love their chemistry. I love both characters. I see a lot of people like saying Garfield wasn't a great Peter. He was a good Spider-Man, wasn't a great Peter. I highly disagree, and the scene that makes me disagree the most is like this: every time he's talking to Emma Stone, he just stutters and he can't even look at her. That's perfect. That's Peter. Peter is a really shy guy, can't talk. Yes, he's a little bit of a hipster, but it's a new reincarnation of the character. I'm open to it. It's totally fine. I really like as well Sally Field's Aunt May. I actually like her more than what's her name? Rosemary Harris' Aunt May. That's from the Raimi's film. I really liked her as Aunt May. I don't know. She always felt like well, Aunt May looked like a guardian. I don't know. I always felt Aunt May was like a mother. And I don't want to talk about that because that's in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. But there's a scene there that's amazing with her. I really like as well the action in The Amazing Spider-Man, because in the Amazing Spider-Man films, Spider-Man actually moves like a spider. I don't know how to explain it, but at the high school scene against the lizard, there's a lot of scenes there that it just looks like a spider. I don't know how to explain it, but I think you're getting what I'm going for. There's, and of course you and me agree, the bridge scene, it's probably one of the greatest scenes in the movie. Like, that's, for me, that's Spider-Man. That's the perfect thing, and that's exactly what I think Spider-Man would do. He would risk his own biggest secret, his biggest like fears just to save someone he doesn't even know. Like, I don't know. I just love this film so much, and the humor for me worked. A lot of people said the humor with Spider-Man was a little bit off. I love the humor. I think the jokes really land, and I don't know. Andrew Garfield for me just really captured Spider-Man and Peter. He's not an amazing Peter, but he was a good Peter, but he was an amazing Spider-Man. No pun intended. And I gotta also mention Martin Sheen's Uncle Ben. I liked him. He wasn't really there in the movie, but when he was, for me, he stole all the scenes he was in, and his speech about responsibility. As I said, it's so different and so unique. I was kind of tired of with a great power comes great responsibility. It was a nice change of pace, seeing another take on that speech. Like
Yeah.
yeah. And as I mentioned, the Lizard as the villain. Look, he's not a fantastic villain, but I mean, he did his job. And I see a lot of people saying his plan was stupid and it didn't make any sense. He was like, oh, he wants to turn everyone in the city as a lizard. The thing is, the Lizard and Dr. Connors are two different people. They are not the same. So it's of course the plan that the Lizard is going to have. It's not going to be the same. Dr. Connors just wanted to have his arm back, while Lizard, it's a completely different person with a completely different mindset. Dr. Connors was just like a passenger. He wasn't aware of what was happening, and the last scene proves it. Like when Peter is about to die, falling from the building because he doesn't have the web shooters; they are broken, and Dr. Connors saves him. There you see that no, this is not the same person. This is not the same, not the same villain. I really like him. As you can see, I like everything about this movie. There's just a few things here and there that just bite me, but the rest, just I really liked. And of course, like I said, about another thing about Uncle Ben, was his final speech to Peter. It's a message, a voicemail. I just love that speech. I think it's really inspirational, and it was just heartwarming seeing that final scene, like that final goodbye to Uncle Ben. I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah. Let's go all the way back to the relationship between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. And I agree. I don't think that there has been another relationship done as well in the comic book genre. When you said just in movies in general, I was about to be like, oh, hold on, let's back it up a little bit. There's some other great ones, but
I said that's like, oh no, wait, within the genre.
Yeah, within the genre. I mean, you can make an argument for just recently Steve Trevor and Diana are in Wonder Woman. But I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Anthony Stark. I really like Tony Stark and Pepper Potts. I know a lot of people don't love it. And Steve, those I know, and Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter, those were like my ideal. But Gwen and Peter are just like,
they're on a whole other level.
Yeah, whole level. Yeah.
Yeah, what I really liked about Peter and Gwen's relationship in this is, like you said, Peter. I think Andrew Garfield's Peter he's my favorite, and I think he's actually really great, because a lot of people went into that movie expecting, the comic book Peter, where he's just this old bumbling nerd and very, very antisocial, but he's still antisocial. He has a little bit of friends, but he is adapted to more of a modern era. He's more of that, like you say, hipster, but when he's talking to Gwen, he's stuttering, he's nervous, he's not some macho dude. So I really like what Andrew Garfield brought to this, because for all intents and purposes, we know that he's a pretty confident dude, so that's not him himself, and he's playing Peter great, and you can see that contrast between Peter and Spider-Man.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, the best thing about the character for me is that when Peter is Spider-Man, he's free. Like, he's like more, I forgot what I was going to say. Like, he's just another person. He's confident, he's charming, he's funny. Like, and when he's Peter, I don't know, it's weird. I actually really relate to Peter when talking to Gwen, because I'm kind of a shy guy. I really, when I talk to someone, I sometimes I stutter, and I really liked his performance as Peter. I don't know, maybe there's a couple things that they could have not done, like I agree. There's a scene. I don't know if you remember, but there's a scene where he just grabs his skateboard and he's like,
Oh
with
yeah.
like a, I don't know
It was
what
like the
type of
music. It
music
was
that
like a
is.
music
Yeah,
video almost. It was really
yeah.
strange.
I agree that that was a little bit too much, but overall they got the message. And I love that scene in the beginning where Flash is picking on someone, and
Hmm.
Peter just goes and is
He's not afraid.
100%.
He's not
Yeah,
afraid to
exactly.
step
Like
in.
he knows he's gonna get his ass kicked, but he still stands up for the little guys. I really like that.
And
It shows that he was the hero before he had the power.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a really important point too. And if we're staying on the Flash tangent there, I really like his relationship with Flash because in the comics, they're not mortal enemies like they were in the first Raimi Spider-Man, where it was
Yeah,
just a stereotypical bully. But you can see that Flash, he picks on him. But when Uncle Ben dies and Peter's
yeah,
going through the hallway and everybody's looking at him, Flash is the only one to go up to him, well, other than Gwen, but
yeah,
and say, "Hey, look, you know what? If you need to take out your anger on me, you can. I'm sorry. I know you're going through a tough time." And that part is really gets me. I really love that scene because
yeah.
it shows Flash. He's kind of that anti-hero, and I really would have liked for them to um, flesh that out in the sequel.
Yeah, I was a little bit bummed out because the Flash wasn't much, but I do understand because in the sequel they were off to college. So how
Mm-hmm.
would you put the Flash in the film? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I really like the scene as well. It shows that Flash is not that bad of a guy. He's just
Mm-hmm.
like misunderstood. He likes being the macho man of the group, but he knows deep down people have problems. He himself says that he has problems. I don't know. It was a nice way to see that. Oh wait, Flash is also a troubled person. He's not like
Mm-hmm.
the biggest guy in the school. He also has problems, and yeah, I really like that scene.
Another one of my favorite scenes is if we're going right back to the Gwen Stacy and Andrew Garfield, or Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, is the rooftop kiss scene. I think
Yeah,
that's my favorite scene in the entire movie. And
yeah, yeah.
maybe I'm a
Go, go,
sap a
go.
little, but I really like that scene.
Yeah, I really like this. I gotta admit, the first time I saw it, I loved it, and I saw the movie like a month ago, if I'm not mistaken, and I found it a little bit cheesy, but overall it was a sweet moment. I like when she's going away, he pulls her with with his web. Like it was kind of
Yeah.
funny seeing that, and she's like, "Oh shit, he's Spider-Man." Uh, I really like that scene, but still my favorite is the bridge scene, and I did mention this, the crane scene. I
Yeah.
really like that scene as well. Really like the scene.
See, that's a scene that I think it's a little bit cheesy, but still works. Because it continues. It kind of brings back from that bridge scene. Spider-Man saved this guy, to save this guy's son, and then this guy goes and helps Spider-Man later.
It,
I mean, to me, it's a little bit convenient, but I still like it just
yeah,
because you
it's like
see that.
what a coincidence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
it's cool
it
to see all of
reminded
them
me.
coming together.
It reminded me a lot of the Raimi first film. There's a scene in Raimi where Green Goblin is like Peter is holding like I don't know, is holding Mary Jane, and he's holding like a I don't know the name, like a, not a bus. I don't remember what it was with people, and Green Goblin is like throwing things at Spider-Man, and the
Oh,
whole
was it
people in the
the?
bridge
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're
send
talking about. The Sky Tram
start
thing.
sending.
Yeah.
Yeah, they start sending like garbage and saying
Hmm.
you mess with him, you mess with us,
Yeah.
and it really reminded me everyone is together. Like everyone, sometimes even the strongest people need some help sometimes.
Yeah.
And I do like the crane scene more than the Raimi scene,
Hmm.
but it really reminded me that, and I really like when like they show that hey, people also have you're not alone. You can have everyone needs help sometime, and I don't know, I really like the crane scene.
And that's what a lot of Spider-Man films have done. They've really paid homage to New York City, and neither of us are New Yorkers, but I'm sure that any New York resident could say to look at that film and be like, that makes me really proud as a New Yorker because you see the citizens all coming together and helping Spider-Man because, as you said, even the most powerful people, they need help. I really like that.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. Yeah, and yeah, I was like thinking maybe there's nothing. And like I mentioned, the bridge scene, it's still my favorite scene of the entire film. I just love that scene. And you're right, it was a little bit convenient, but you know, sometimes some movies need those scenes like
Yeah.
that scene that forwards the plot. You know, like, oh, you could clearly see that. Okay, so how do you transition from here to there? Oh, let's have this happening. But I really like it. It was a nice scene.
Yeah, and just real quick before we move on to the sequel, I really like James Horner's score in this film.
Yes, yes. My Peter.
It has little twinges of sci-fi in there, but it's also really heroic with the violins. And I'm a huge score nerd, so I'm going to talk about like the actual pieces of the thing. But I really like it.
I love the score. I don't remember the name of the track, but it's the last track. I think it's the Promise of Peter's Promise. I don't know the name.
Hold on, I will search it up real quick. You keep talking.
It's the scene like so Peter comes back to school and he's late, and the teacher says, "Oh, Mr. Parker, late again. At least you can count on you." And Peter says, "Sorry, it won't happen again." And she says, "Don't make promises you can keep." And those are the best kind. And you see like the final swing from him. There's a score there that I think it's called Promises.
It's Promises. It's called Promises.
Promises. I love it. It's probably I know that again people are gonna kill me, but I actually like it more than the original Spider-Man score, the main theme from Elfman.
Elfman's scene or score is really good. But again, I have to agree with you here too. And honestly, we probably should have brought someone on who likes Raimi's a little bit more, so we could have a little bit back and forth. And I was just not sitting here agreeing with each other. But it's great.
I love Raimi's films. The Amazing Spider-Man is amazing, but I still put it Spider-Man 2 from Raimi's a little bit higher. I love Spider-Man 2 just a little bit more because of what the movie was like, more of a Peter than a Spider-Man film. That's why I love it so much. But The Amazing Spider-Man, for me, it did so much things right that, I don't know, it just elevates the film so much for me. And like you said, we should have brought someone that would support a little bit the Raimi's films. But they're all great, except the third and The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, so on the topic of Amazing Spider-Man 2, basically for me, after coming out of Amazing Spider-Man, it became my favorite Spider-Man film. For me, the Raimi films don't hold up as well. They're still good, but they don't hold up as well as these ones do. And maybe the Amazing Spider-Man films won't hold up in 10 years. Maybe they're very, very much a product of the time. But Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and it was a mess. There were parts of it that I loved, and those parts, again, the Peter and Gwen scenes, and Mark Webb is so good at getting good relationships out of his characters from 500 Days to even his most recent one, Gifted.
Gifted.
The chemistry he gets out of his actors is really great. I don't know. Well, I guess that it shows how good he is as a director. If 3 out of his 4 films, the romantic leads actually got together in real life. So that must say something about how good of a director he is.
Yeah, I'm not that much of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 hater. Actually, a lot of people in the group have mocked me because I am actually one of those few people. I gave The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a 7 out of 10. I really like the film. The thing is, for me, the reason why I gave it that score is because there's a lot of good things. I know there's a lot of bad things, but for me, the good outweighs the bad. So that's why, for me, the movie gets a pass and gets... Look, there's a lot of bad things. Rhino is awful. I love the character in the comic books, even the TV shows. I hate Paul Giamatti Rhino. He was just useless. He was in the beginning of the film. It made 0 sense. You could have like another thief doing that. And he was in the end. And I love the shot where Peter grabs a manhole and Rhino sends some rockets.
Oh, the very ending, yeah.
Yeah. I love that shot in the trailer. I was like in the theater, like, okay, this is gonna be. Oh, is it over? Okay.
Yeah,
I hated it did that. But there's a lot of other things. For example, I remember the first time Peter and Electro meet. It's in the Times Square scene. I love that scene where Peter has one of his web shooters broken. He only has one working, and he has to save like all these people. Yeah. And you get like a slow-mo shot of him like thinking, okay, what I'm going to do. I love that. It shows that Peter is using actually his intelligence to his advantage. Like he has like a few seconds to do, okay, what I'm going to do here. And he's able to save everyone. But then there's other things like Harry Osborn disease.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
no
I don't
thanks.
remember the name, but it's so stupid, and I don't remember why does the disease affect his father in like 60 years, but Harry suddenly has
It's
it in like
yeah,
two
it's
days,
really quick. Yeah.
and
Um,
then it comes and goes. What? It makes zero sense. It was so stupid.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like some of that was a lot of it was backdoor kind of sort of trying to be like, oh, let's set up the Sinister Six. There's that
yeah,
one scene where they
that's
blatantly walk down that scene. You see all
that's
the
the
other
thing.
stuff.
That's the thing that I hate the most about this film. They were too worried about setting up the future,
Hmm.
while they should have just focused on this. Oh, I forgot to mention about Amazing Spider-Man. This is the thing that bothers me the most about the first one and the second one.
Oh
The
yeah, I know where you're
his
going.
father's plotline is awful in the first film and in the second film. I don't give a damn about his father's plotline. It was so stupid. The plane scene is horrible. It's horrible. I don't like it one bit. It's so stupid. And the second one, I don't know. The first one had some, but the second one had a lot of advertisement, like a lot of advertisement.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, go, go, go.
I feel like the opening in the first Amazing Spider-Man, it teased it nicely, and I was interested, and then it went off the rails in the second. They even had a
Yeah,
deleted scene where he was still alive, which is
I
just
actually like that scene.
I don't like that
It's
at
not
all. I think
like I don't. I'm glad it was cut, but I saw it. I was like, yeah, it's a okay scene. I don't want him to be alive. I
no.
zero want him to be alive. But it was a nice scene, like talking about it. But it was basically another with great power comes great responsibility speech,
Hmm.
and we didn't need that. So it made sense to just cut him out.
Well, by itself, the scene it's okay because Peter's in grieving and his
Yeah.
dad is there, but like in the movie, it doesn't work. I don't think. But
But it was better, in my opinion. His father motivating him to keep going was better
mhm.
than him watching than Peter watching a recording of Gwen Stacy. I don't know. I
Yeah, that
just
was the
liked
same
it
thing
more.
as in the end. Yeah,
Yeah, as in the Amazing Spider-Man one. Amazing
yeah.
Spider-Man one is like, oh, Peter, we're always here for you, and he continues his life. And in the second one, it was Gwen Stacy, hold on to hope, and he continues
Hmm.
his life. I don't know. It was kind of the same old. I didn't like it that much. But
Well,
yeah,
on that happy note, we're gonna end the cinema chat. We're gonna take a quick break, come back for the free chat. As you can tell, we both love the Amazing Spider-Man films. Pedro likes the second one a little bit more, but I still like it a lot more than most people. But we will come back and we will be talking about some video games in the free chat segment. We'll be right back. And we are back for the free chat segment. And today we are going to be talking about video games. Some of the upcoming video games that are coming out, some of the big ones. As many people know, I'm not the biggest gamer, but I do like to play some of the more story-oriented games. The biggest one of them being Last of Us, and more importantly, Last of Us 2. And Last of Us 2 trailer came out a while ago. Pedro, what did you think of that trailer?
I love the trailer. Now I know the game is basically just begun production. Like they even said when they released the trailer, we haven't even started working on the game. This is just a trailer that we put to give you a sense of the story. I love the trailer. It looks a little bit more dark than the first one, as if the first one wasn't dark.
Yeah,
But the
I was
second one,
gonna say.
but this one looks even darker. I love that we're finally gonna play with Ellie. I don't know if you knew
Mm-hmm.
that. We're gonna play with Ellie the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really intrigued what she's talking about. She says like she's gonna kill everyone. Who's everyone? What the hell is going on? It's good to see Joel back, even though there's some theory that Joel is not particularly back. There's
Yeah.
something wrong with Joel. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think we have the same theory.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it looks amazing. I can't wait. Naughty Dog is my favorite video game producer right now because
Oh, me too.
Uncharted and Last of Us. That's pretty much win-win situation. Yeah, I really like the trailer. Really
Yeah,
like
Naughty
it.
Dog is the only studio that I will buy every single one of their games that comes out. I am loyal to them because they don't put out too many games, and two, they put out quality games.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when they do something, they work their asses off doing that. Like they spent so much time on some games. Like I think Last of Us they spent 5 years. Like
Yeah.
story. I don't know if you saw, but Last of Us they actually had like the study of the infection like coming from the ants. They actually explained it, and scientists explained that that's actually possible from
which is kind of scary.
It's really weird. Yeah, it's kind of scary. It's not as like big as turning into zombies or something, but it could happen or something. Yeah, I really like Naughty Dog. They really work hard on their games.
Yeah, what intrigues me about this trailer a lot is we're getting a time skip, and I have a feeling we're going to be dropped right into it, and something big and drastic has happened in that world, and we don't know, because there's I think she's 18 in this one, and she was 12, 13, I don't remember how old.
I don't
12
remember
in the last one, but there's at least a 5-year time skip, and whenever they do that in movies or a TV show, it's really intriguing, and sometimes it doesn't go well, but this is Naughty Dog, so I trust it, and I trust that they're going to tease us enough. They're not going to tell us anything, and there's going to be some sort of twist in there, some sort of great story moment, to kind of explain how they got from A to B.
Yeah. So I just searched. She was 14 in the first one, and she's 19 in the second one.
So
there's a 5-year gap.
5 years.
Yeah, 5-year gap. What intrigues me the most is what is Joel's role in this game, and I think are you thinking about the same as I, which is Joel might be dead, and Ellie is imagining him as a way of coping with his death. I don't know. There's so much possibilities. I fully trust Naughty Dog, and I think they will deliver us a great game. But yeah, we're gonna wait and see. A lot of people say the game will come out in like 2018. If I know Naughty Dog and I know them, the game's not even out before 2019, in my opinion. We're not gonna get the game next year, 2019. We're getting it in 2019.
The selfish part of me wants it out as soon as possible.
Yeah, me too.
I know. I mean, you said it that they were working on it for 5 years, and if they hadn't even really begun to work on the actual game until last year, we know it's not even close. But I hope that the fact that they put out a trailer means it's coming in the next 2 years. So hopefully, because I really want to play this game.
Yeah. And a lot of people say this game was like a little bit forced, but the thing I found is funny is that the game is not called Last of Us 2. It's called Last of Us Part 2. Yeah. Like, they had this story planned from the beginning, and they're going to show us how it ends. I don't think it's going to be a Last of Us 3. I think we're going to get the second one, and that's it, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm really excited for what's to come.
I can see where people are a little bit apprehensive because the way Last of Us ends.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's a time skip, that always allows a little bit more leniency, because you don't know what happens in between. And maybe we are looking a little bit too far into this with the Joel being dead theory, but I'm fully on board with that too, because I think that'll be really cool, but it also breaks my heart a little bit because I love Joel. Let's move on to another trailer that just dropped recently, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Battlefront, like the new one, but the old Battlefronts, I played those every day. I love those games.
Battlefront 2 is my childhood. I played that game so many times. I had the game for PSP. I didn't have one PS2.
So same with me.
Yeah, and I usually, like in my school, you couldn't bring your PSP to school. There was like a rule there. You could bring it once per week. And me and my friends would usually bring it like every Wednesday, and we used to play all day Battlefront 2 against each other. It was a really cool game. A thing that they didn't do in Battlefront 1, which really pissed me off, was like in Battlefront 2, which is a really old game, you could play on the ground and then get into a spaceship and go to space and fight in space. And Battlefront this one, the new one, didn't have that. So I'm happy to see that they brought that feature back to the Battlefront 2. And they expanded on the Star Wars lore. Like in the 2015 release, we just had, I think, the originals, I think. Yeah, we didn't have Rey.
It was literally just originals, yeah.
Just originals. I think we had like...
There's expansions that go
to there's expansions.
Scarif, yeah.
Scarif and
Star
Jakku.
Killer, I think. Yeah.
And Jakku, yeah. But you didn't play, I think, as like Jyn Erso or Rey or Kylo Ren. No, you couldn't play as them. Yeah, it was really weird. I feel like that game was rushed, but I can see that they know what they did with the first one. They know what to do with this one, and I hope it's good. But it's EA, so I never know. EA doesn't have the best reputation. Well, let's see.
The first one felt very much like a cash grab, just to take advantage of The Force Awakens, because with how good the original one was, and the original Battlefront 2, the 2005 one was, they really should have just built on that and created an upgraded version with maybe some better graphics and bigger maps or whatever. Instead, we got something that felt really unfinished and felt like it was basically, hey, just pay us all this money and we'll give you this later.
Yeah,
and
I
this
agree.
one, part of me, the pessimist side of me, the negative side of me is thinking that, oh, maybe they're just showing the fan service stuff and really they're just going to do it all over again. But deep down, I really hope that this one is going to be good and it's going to be like Battlefront 2.
They did release some news that I liked. It was like Battlefront 2 will not have a season pass.
Mm-hmm.
All the DLCs will be free. But again, it's EA. EA doesn't do that. I don't see EA giving DLCs for free. I think they will give DLC for free, but like the major stuff, like characters and I don't know, maybe like some new maps, I think they'll charge, but they'll give like a few things here and there for free. I know Finn and Captain Phasma will not be in the game in the beginning, but you'll get them for free, I think, when Last Jedi comes out.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think that was it. I'm a little bit optimistic, but there's always a part of me that says maybe this will be just another Battlefront that came out 2 years ago. In 2015, yeah.
I'm really hoping Lucasfilm and Disney, and they stepped in and said, hey, you can't do this to these people anymore. These are our fan base, and treat them right. So hopefully they stepped in like that. But on that note, that ends the free chat segment, and that ends this episode of the podcast. Pedro, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. Is there anything that you would like to plug, or anybody, or anything you'd like to shout out?
No, I don't have particularly anything. Like, I have a blog, which is West Movies TK. You can write it on Google, it will appear. It's from Blogspot. I'm actually writing an article about how the Spider-Man films influenced me, and I'm also going to include the Amazing Spider-Man films as well. So if you want to check it out, it's westmoviestk.blogspot.com.
And I'll definitely put that in the description, so it'll be easier to find. So that way you don't have to Google and mess up and go to the wrong place and give other people clicks when you should be giving Pedro's website clicks. You guys can find me, obviously, on this podcast, rate and everything, and subscribe on iTunes and Google Play. We're now on Stitcher, and everything else is in the description below. Thank you so much for listening if you made it this far, and we will chat with you. I will chat with you. Maybe somebody else will be here next week.